Come on and shine, shine, shine. Las Vegas, shine your light on me.
Welcome to Las Vegas Tonight with your award-winning host, Dale Davidson. Dale interviews fascinating guests from top-ranked celebrities to people just like you who have an important story to tell. For more than 15 years, Dale is broadcast every week from the fabulous Las Vegas Strip. He finds the people who really make Las Vegas a one-of-a-kind city and lets the world know just what's happening in this remarkable town. You'll discover why 50 million people visit the entertainment capital of the world every year. Stay tuned for another exciting episode of Las Vegas Tonight.
Welcome to Las Vegas Tonight. I'm your host, Dale Davidson. Thank you for tuning in to episode 478. We just discovered by talking to my director, William. We so appreciate your tuning in. I want to remind people that they can give me a call anytime at 702-480-3989. I just talked to somebody in California about 15 minutes ago. So if you're a viewer, please, and you have questions or you have a suggestion for a guest on the show, just give me a ring, or you can go to my website, which is vegassaints.org, and register, and we'll keep in touch. Business. We have Briell Decker with us today. She's a wonderful, wonderful woman who has a terrific story to tell. It's a harrowing tale with a happy ending. Briell, thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah.
We appreciate it so much. So you came here from Colorado City, Utah, where you grew up, right?
Well, Colorado City, Arizona.
Arizona,
and
sorry.
Hillville, Utah.
Yeah. It's like right at the corner of Utah and Arizona, so I always get it confused.
Okay.
But that's where you grew up?
I actually grew up in Sandy, Utah.
Yeah.
And moved down there with my family when I was 16. So I was born in the FLDS, and during the they used to live in Morris Salt Lake area, a lot of them.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
So it's the Fundamental Church of Latter-day Saints.
Yeah.
Right? And it's a sect. It has been called a cult. And you were born into the cult.
Right.
Yeah.
I was born in there. FLDS stands for fundamentalist.
Right.
Yeah. So
Yeah. So it's been disavowed by the regular LDS church,
right?
Because of plural marriage and other practices which they don't approve of.
Right.
Yeah. Now, plural marriage, polygamy, was outlawed in Utah in the late 19th century, I think. It was part of the deal for Utah becoming a state.
Right.
And it's been outlawed ever since. But this group, which was undercover for years, wasn't it?
They did go into hiding for a long time.
Yeah.
And about 3 prophets before Warren, then they came out public about living
right?
anyway.
Yeah. So Warren Jeffs was the leader of this cult, and he's in prison right now.
Yes.
Yes, and his charges are pretty horrific for sexual misconduct with minors and things like that. I don't know what else, but you were what number wife?
I was 65th wife.
65th wife. That's amazing. And you escaped.
Yes, I did escape. That was a miracle.
Tell me about that.
So I moved down to Short Creek when I was 16.
Okay.
And then with all the people from Salt Lake area moved around that same time frame.
Okay.
And
Short Creek is the area by Colorado City.
Yeah, Short Creek. They call it Short Creek because they called it Short Creek before they became official cities.
Oh, I see.
So it encompasses the whole area.
I see. Okay.
And so I married Warren Jeffs at 18.
Right.
And that was an arranged marriage, so
right.
We didn't have a lot of say in that. I escaped at 26. So I was in his family for about 8 years.
Wow.
He was caught when I was about 20 years old.
Right.
By the law. And his followers were so loyal that it was really hard to escape.
Yeah.
Even though I knew I needed to escape even before he was caught.
Yeah.
So I did go
He
to...
was gone, but there were still followers there
Yeah.
doing what his bidding was.
Yes, and
Yeah.
he still gave them orders sometimes from prison.
Yeah.
And they still believed in him because their whole setup is basically Joseph Smith Foundation,
Right.
and they believe in prophets. And
Right.
and they have a doctrine in the FLDS that says that God will not let the prophet lead the people astray
Right.
unless he dies. So, like, God would kill him before he'd allow him to lead the people astray.
Okay.
So, if he's alive, then he must be a good person still.
Wow.
Yeah.
How many followers were there when you were there?
So before he became the leader, there was 10,000 followers.
Oh my Lord. I
Yeah.
had no idea.
Yeah. I don't know how many there still are because after he became the leader, quite a few people didn't like Warren Jeffs, so they started to fall away more. And he scattered them all. He scattered them all over. So he built a compound in Texas, in Colorado, in South Dakota, and I did live in all of those places. I don't think I lived in Colorado, but I lived in houses in hiding around that area, but not actually in the compound there that I know of. But I did live in Texas. I lived in like 23 places the whole time I was
my Lord.
married to him.
So he kept moving.
He kept moving us.
Yeah.
That's just how many houses I've lived in was about 23, and I don't count how many times I moved to the same house or in a different room in the same house. Like, it was just constant survival mode. He liked to keep everybody in survival mode
Yeah.
and busy so that they wouldn't question and start to think about survival,
Yeah.
like how to survive on their own. So for me, it was, I started waking up before he was caught, but I didn't see a way out because he had, in the newer places, he had guard towers, he had a gate around the whole property, and we didn't know how far out it was from neighbors. We didn't know where any of the neighbors were because they were like in the middle of like this huge property, and and then he'd have people driving around the outside every 15 minutes. So like
make sure nobody got away.
Yeah, and with me, he had me on 24-hour watch when I started to question, when I started to first show those signs of like hesitation toward what he asked me to do.
Right.
Then he started just putting people over me to watch the cameras, to watch me physically sometimes for like 24-hour watch. So I couldn't like figure out how to escape very easy.
It's like being in prison.
Yeah, it was basically a prison.
Yeah.
So
how did you escape then?
So when I escaped, what I did is I worked against him. So like I took my time to study all of his doctrine before he was caught. Like, I didn't know how I was going to escape, but I didn't want to also be dragged into horrific things.
Right.
So I moved to these houses in hiding, which was a middle ground house. So like he only let the most obedient and the most holy people into the compounds and the elite groups. And then when you started to struggle, then he would send you to these houses in hiding that were just scattered everywhere. I did live in Las Vegas before.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and we didn't get to go outside. We had caretakers, and we'd just close all the blinds, and we didn't do the shopping or anything. They had people do that for us and bring us food to the house. And so what I did is I worked against him. So I studied his doctrine, and then when he did get caught, then I started to research my routes out. But I found out that he had so much control and power among his followers that he had the right to tell us if our own impressions from God were from God or the devil. He'd just say, oh, that was from the devil, so don't listen to that.
Oh, wow.
And then nobody around would listen to it because they all had to be from God. So what I did is I would use his words against himself. I'd say, you said this on this day in this training, and he could never be from the devil. So then they would have to give me opportunities based on his own doctrine.
Wow.
Yeah, it saved my life. It really did. And God, I believe, the real God helped me sort that out.
Yeah.
Because I did it multiple times to gain like opportunities. And I was working my way back to Colorado City, because Colorado City is an older compound where some people never ever left, never went to Texas, never went to South Dakota or anywhere like that.
Right.
I wanted to be there where my biological family was, and because also that compound does have ex-FLDS people around, so I could maybe escape easier.
Right.
In the end, I did work my way back to Colorado City as the first one in Warren's family to make it back there. And then I was locked in solitary confinement in Colorado City. So they put me in a house where my family was, one of my family members was actually my caretaker. And he was told to put screws in the window because it's the kind of window that lifts up.
Right.
So like I had 2 screws, and it would hit the screws whenever I'd try to pull it up.
Yeah.
And then he turned the doorknob around. So I was basically in solitary confinement in one of his rooms in his house.
Right.
And I found some scissors, and when I heard his truck leave, then I started to try to get the screws undone.
Unscrewed.
One side did come undone really fast. The other side was too tight, but it was sticking out halfway also. So I just started pounding on it to break it off, and it did break off. And from there, I just left. I climbed out the window and left. Went to it because I was in Colorado City. I had people that I had to know exactly if they were ex-FLDS or FLDS houses. So I ran to a specific house to make sure I made it to an ex-FLDS house.
Yes.
And I knew enough about the area and some of the people that I knew which house I was running to. I ran to a specific house, and right before I got there, I ran through a yard, and there was a lady sitting outside, and she was dressed ex-FLDS. I didn't know her because I took back roads and stuff, and she said, "Can I help you?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm trying to get to the house next door." She said she's actually meditating in her backyard when I ran through her yard.
Right.
And she was like,
what's going on
yeah,
now?
can I help you? And I said, yeah, I'm trying to get to the neighbors. So she drove me up there, and she's like, should I go in or should I just stay out here? And I said, you might as well come in. So she went in, and the family I ran to had 2 recently left themselves. That they didn't know any of the small organizations that were on the outside at that time.
Yeah.
Their phone numbers or anything.
The FLDS.
Yeah, well, she didn't know anybody that would help.
Ah, gotcha.
But the lady who walked in with me did know their phone number.
Ah.
And she called them. And you can see throughout my story like a whole thread of God. Like, because
watching for you.
Yes,
Yeah.
there's because like some of that stuff I had no idea. I had never met her. I didn't know that this family wasn't gonna, like it just, the thread just kept going and going and going.
Mm-hmm.
I did go to Tennessee after about a month. I went to Nashville secretly. Like,
Right.
they figured out how to get my ID, and then they back from the FLDS. We secreted it in the airport, flew me. They did chase me, the FLDS also.
Oh, they
chased
did?
me, yeah.
Yeah, they tried to catch you.
Yeah, they also told everybody that because of my mental state, because they had drugged me and things in the church, and they had cult doctors, so the doctors were told if they didn't give me the medicine that Warren Jeffs wanted me to have, even though Warren Jeffs wasn't a doctor, then Warren Jeffs would take away their own wives and kids.
Wow.
They would give me the medicine that he prescribed for me, even though he was never a doctor.
Oh, my Lord.
And they were told to go to college and learn all the stuff they needed to so they could prescribe medicine.
And they were real doctors.
They were real doctors, but couldn't act as a real doctor
Right.
because their families were being held over them.
Wow.
They were cult doctors. I call them cult doctors. And
Oh, my Lord.
it was pretty tragic because at the end I had met a few people in the community
Right.
who had lost like their American rights. They had people that had custody over them or whatever because of it's like guardianship as an adult.
Right.
Because of situations where their mental health was targeted so much. So I started to wake up to that, and I thought, they're going to take away my rights.
Sure they are.
Yeah, they were trying to.
Yeah.
But I did escape. God helped me escape before that happened. They tried to say it had already happened, but my adopted mom, the mom that now is who adopted me after I escaped,
Oh, okay.
she fought for me really hard because she was in an organization helping, so that when they called the organization, she met me for the first time that day. She said she had a feeling inside of her. She's like, that's she's mine, like my daughter.
That's my daughter.
And she didn't even know where that came from. She describes that a lot, about like how
that's a God thing.
And she told her children, she has 7 children of her own, she told all of them that she was going to have another girl someday, and then they never did. And then when they adopted me, her children came and reminded her, this is our other sister that you always told us about.
The one, yeah. That's a lovely story.
Yeah, and there's a lot of amazing
story,
things. Yeah.
Briell, we need to take a brief break. What a fascinating story you are. Oh, wow. That Briell is something. We'll be back with Briell Decker, and we'll be talking about the FLDS and the incredible stuff that she has done to help the women that were in the same position she was. It's a remarkable story. We'll be back right after this. The Lord has made it possible for our show, Las Vegas Tonight, to thrive. We've produced well over 300 episodes telling the remarkable stories of Christians who have set out to change the world for the better. It's my honor to lead this ministry. As the founder of Dale Davidson Ministries, I'm commanded to be a good steward of all the donations our partners have so generously provided to us. As you can imagine, it takes a great deal of money to keep this program on the air in the United States and around the world. Please prayerfully consider making a one-time donation or becoming a monthly partner of Dale Davidson Ministries. Just go to vegassaints.org and select Make a Donation, or send your check or money order made out to Dale Davidson Ministries, 9030 West Sahara Avenue, number 255, Las Vegas, Nevada 89117. For more information, call 702-480-3989. Thank you, and God bless you. Welcome back to Las Vegas Tonight. I'm your host, Dale Davidson. We have a fascinating guest. Her name is Briell Decker. She escaped from the fundamentalist LDS Church, FLDS, which is a cult. And she's been telling us her story about how she escaped. So you got adopted.
Right.
How swell is that? What a nice thing. Yeah. So where does she live? Where does your...
She lives in Hurricane, Utah.
Oh, okay.
And at the time, she lived in New Harmony.
Oh, okay.
So that's about, it's a little bit farther, but it's not, it's like the next town over. Or whatever.
It is, okay.
So it's not that much
Close.
farther than from Colorado City. But when I got adopted, when we did all the paperwork, I did go to Nashville for 2 years and then we found an attorney who knew how to do that. Changed my social, legally adopted, and changed my name. So my name was Lynette Warner, and now it's Briell.
Oh, okay.
Decker,
okay.
Yeah.
And you're okay about being public now? Do you feel like you're in danger by being public about this? No.
I went public. I started going public because of the house.
Yeah, yeah.
So the need was so great. I just decided I was going to. But I do have like a lot of things out there. I've been on a TEDx talk. I've had a documentary.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, on Discovery Plus.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so people can stream that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So look for, what's the name of it again?
Prisoner of the Prophet.
Prisoner of the Prophet on Discovery Plus, and you'll get a documentary all about Briell and her life. Well, let's talk about the house. What a remarkable thing. You are obviously very bright. You came up with the idea of going after Warren Jeff's property. Right. As his ex-wife, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so tell me how that happened.
So sometimes people have to understand a little bit of the land in that area.
Okay.
So the fast version is, Warren Jeff stood up in church and he told everybody in Short Creek that to stay a member of the church, which also meant keep your wives and kids, because they were all like arranged marriages. They were gifts to each other, and he had the right to take the other partner away and give it to somebody else. So he said, if you want to stay a member of the church, then you have to donate your titles to your houses to this charitable trust called the UEP, the United Effort Plan Trust. And so most of the people in Short Creek did, because they wanted to keep their families together over their house.
Right.
When Warren Jeffs ran from the law, when he became the prophet and ran from the law, then the state of Utah and Arizona took back that trust, because it was in Warren Jeffs' name solely. Right. And they started giving titles to the houses back to the people who originally made the investment. So the builders of the houses. So for me, when I found out that I had an opportunity of getting Warren Jeffs' house, because he's in prison for life in 20 years, the houses usually go to a wife or the person who built it, so the man. But he's in prison. So I was like, well, I should go and apply for that, you know. If the house is, like, if another of his wives was to come forward and ask for a house, they would be able to qualify for one, most likely. But it would be a different one. And they would, and as long as there are houses. So the rules of the UEP is that once all the houses are gone, they're gone.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So this was his large home that he lived in.
Yeah, this was his large home.
Yeah.
So his 28,000 square foot house.
Wow.
And
he had like 30 wives living with him or something like that, right?
He at one time had at least 30 in that house.
Wow.
But at this time, when I applied for it, they decided they weren't going to pay the taxes and things on it.
Oh, okay.
So it was going to go to the state sale anyway.
Yeah.
And the UEP would step in and tell people in the Short Creek area when that time frame was going to lapse, so they could maybe save the house before it would go to the state or whatever.
Right.
So they put it up on their website, I think, and I heard about it from talking to people, because I'm from Short Creek.
Sure.
So I went and applied. I filled out their application thing, explained all of my history and stuff, and they already knew I was one of Warren Jeffs' wives, because they were ex-FLDS people the state put in place to manage it. They're mostly ex-FLDS people, so so I didn't have to be a legal wife, and I wasn't a legal wife.
Right.
But they understood that I was one of his wives. They already knew that. So they honored that, and they did award me the house. So I applied in February of 2016. I was awarded the house on November, and it was interesting because I wrote on the paperwork, the lady who was helping me said, "What do you want to call this house?" And I said, temporarily, we'll just call it, for the business plan, we'll call it like the Dream House. And I had never heard of the Dream Center.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was 2016. In February I applied, and then November it was Thanksgiving Day, they gave me the keys, and then it was June the next year that the Dream Center came on board. So we met Christians in town. I was doing free tours of the house, and also media and things, because it's a high-profile house. People wanted to see it. And both of those combined, God used to bring the Dream Center people that are Christian-based to that area. And they also had the dream. They wanted to make a recovery center that would help people, just like that was my dream. I felt like, I'm the 65th wife. I knew the rules that, people would run out of houses eventually in Short Creek, and I wanted them to have a place to come anyway, so I just was just blessed to be that instrument, and now it is a recovery center there.
Yeah, it's so amazing what you did. And not many people, being granted a 28,000 square foot house would turn right around and give it away. But you did. God bless you for doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we had Luke Barnett on the show.
Yeah.
And he is pastor of the Dream Center Church in Phoenix. And he told me a little bit about your dream and told me about you, and then he talked about what the church wanted to do. And one of the things that struck me was he said, we're not down there to proselytize our church to them.
Right.
We're there to serve them.
Yeah.
And so I guess that's still the case, right?
Yes. To talk about God among them is usually a trigger. It's like, everything was in the name of God in the past. So what we usually do is we just live our religion, serving, and it still reaches, a lot of, God can do miracles anyway,
yeah.
we've seen. But
Sure.
and with me, I am Christian. I met Christians for the first time in my life in Tennessee when I was there.
Oh, okay.
And I did get baptized there because I didn't realize it was the salvation prayer. I'd never heard of the salvation prayer.
Right.
And so I got baptized because that was the LDS faith, is baptism is usually the factor.
Right.
So I got baptized and came back to Utah. I came back to Utah after another series of events that, when they changed my social, they didn't change my SSI at that time, and I was on SSI at that time.
Yeah.
So I couldn't pay my rent.
Oh.
And I called my attorney and was asking if they could speed up the process so that I could pay my rent in time. And he's like, it's interesting because I just had an XFLDS pilot walk in my office and hand me some airplane tickets and say, if anybody's in crisis, tell them Short Creek is changing to XFLDS and to come home. And I was just like, what? Because I met all these Christians there. I had a support system.
Yeah.
And,
Did you hesitate?
I did hesitate.
Yeah, I'll bet you did.
But I had, I did in the end find an XFLDS lady who would take me in Salt Lake. And then when I came back is when I found out about the house. And now you see God's hand, I think, in multiple ways. I did have, I would have still been Christian. I would have figured it out with my friends there. But he has touched so many more lives.
Yeah, yeah.
So by me coming back here and, being involved in the Dream Center.
Yeah.
When the Dream Center did come on board, I was sitting down with some Christians and they were like, you do know it's not baptism in the Christian faith, it's the salvation prayer. So it was like 2 days after the Dream Center came on board is when I actually said the salvation prayer that I know of for the first time.
Wow.
So yeah.
Wow. Do you consider yourself an evangelical Christian now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Evangelical. Some people I'll say non-denominational. It just depends on
Right.
Yeah, but it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've heard the Dream Center people, it depends on who you're talking to, but most of them say evangelical.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I do too. You go to a church in Utah now?
I go to the Dream Center Church in Short Creek.
Yeah, okay. So they have the church and they have the recovery center. Everything is there.
Yes.
Tell me about the house and tell me about the recovery center and the learning center, which is also there in a separate building, right?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
So they have the Dream Center, recovery center.
Right.
That's the main building.
Right.
And then on the same property, so they had 3 buildings on the property when I was awarded that property.
Okay.
And the Learning Center is one of and it's like a little school in the back.
Oh, okay.
The other house is the director house. Then they have the main Dream Center building. They purchased the mission house right next to it.
Okay.
They call it the bunk house or something. And it's for crews from all over the world can go to the Short Creek Dream Center website and book a trip to come and serve the community. They can come do painting, weeding.
Like a mission.
Yeah, a mission in the community.
Wow.
And we book it out quite a bit. So it's usually in the summer for sure. It's you have to book ahead of time because it will book up fast.
Wow.
And then they purchased a food bank that's across town. And that also, they put the church in there, so it's not right on the same property.
Yeah.
And so it's optional for everybody.
Yeah.
They don't require it because of the triggers, but it is optional.
Yeah.
They also bought a transitional house. I think it was a year ago or something like it. And they've been, so it's going to have 6 apartments. So basically the transitional house is for people who have done a lot of work and went through the program in the Dream Center,
right,
and need that extra support. So they move them out so they can open up beds for people in crisis.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I see. Okay. Like a halfway house kind of, in a way.
It's it's free too. It's part of the nonprofit, but it's yeah.
Now there still are FLDS people who live there, right?
There are FLDS people that live in town. It's 20% FLDS.
Yeah.
Right now.
And how do they react to everything that's happened in their town?
Oh, they are leaving town, like they're scattering more, leaving Short Creek more.
Yeah.
Also because the city is now owned by the XFLDS. They've been voted in XFLDS because there's more XFLDS people to do the votes.
Oh, I see.
And so I think they see it as a bad thing, but they've scattered already all over. So
yeah.
but they weren't going to comply with the UEP at any time, so they were leaving mostly because of that, because they didn't want to pay their taxes and pay the fees that were required by the UEP. So they were leaving anyway.
Right. When Luke and his daughter took that walk in order to raise money, and it was a great adventure all the way across Arizona, basically, with asking for donations and paying the taxes was a big part of that. Do you know, is it the Dream Center Church in Phoenix and or LA that's supporting this now? Or is it just donations from all over the country, or how are the funds being handled now at Short Creek?
In the beginning, I know they were really linked with Phoenix.
Yeah.
Now I think Angel and Luke are one of the main funders for the Short Creek Dream Center.
Wow.
I'm sure they could still go and work things out if they needed to, but if they can raise the funding, that's their goal and has been their goal for about 3 years now. So they have their licensing. They can fill the house to capacity. I've worked on site now on the 29th will be 3 years.
Wow.
So before that I was a fundraiser.
40 beds in this house now.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. So it's a really good, they're so they want to do it right, and they take the time to do it right. So it took them 3 years to get the licensing, because as the first place in Hilldale and Colorado City to get licensing in a business after Warren Jeffs. So when they signed in October, when we all signed the paperwork, they were hoping and praying for the city to become XFLDS that November, and it did.
Wow.
So you can see that there was a lot of miracles. It will always, I believe, Short Creek will still remain as a hub for information on this topic.
Yes.
Whether the FLDS are scattered or not. And another thing why we wanted it in Warren Jeffs' house specifically is because it will be harder for the FLDS to hide the information of what happened to their prophet's house from their own members.
Right.
And so if they do get in a crisis, there's a higher possibility that they'll know where to call.
Oh, okay. And where to go.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned you do tours.
Yeah.
Do you encourage people, just tourists, to come and see the place?
Yeah.
Yeah, tell me about that.
We do encourage them to book it, because if they just show up at the door, we have to get permission before we can actually take them through. And sometimes it takes a little while if our leaders are really busy.
Right.
So we usually like a little bit of notice beforehand.
Okay.
But we'll just book a tour and
let's talk about
there.
how they get in touch with you a little bit.
Yeah.
So people will do that. Briell, Briell Decker is her name, and it's brielldecker.com is your website, which I've seen it's very well done, by the way. And shortcreekdreamcenter.org is the website, right?
Yeah.
For the Dream Center.
Yeah.
Oh, what an answer to prayer. Yeah.
They have a lot of resources on there.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Briell, we need to take another brief break. We're going to come back for even more with Briell Decker and guest right after this. Hi, I'm DaleDavidson, host of Las Vegas Tonight. You know, radio has an enduring place in the heart of America. Sometimes it's music that can enliven your spirit or keep you company when you need some. More often for me, it's just been the right spoken word or two that can quiet my mind and soul. Radio brings me a reassuring word in the quiet of night, or a welcoming voice early in the morning as I shake off the night's sleep and find my way into God's purpose for my day. And always, I find the best radio station is the one that brings me the best news, the gospel of Jesus Christ. My favorite radio station is KKVV in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's still right where it's been for years at 1060 on the AM dial, hovering over Sin City like a gospel airship, broadcasting the good news of the abounding love that Jesus Christ has for every single one of us. No matter who you are or where you live, you can receive God's Word via the KKVV Gospel Airship. Just go to kkvv.com and click on Listen Live. KKVV is using all the tools that God's provided them, like podcasting and video streaming and video on demand, to produce programs that lift up our fellow believers and save the lost. If you feel a calling to speak to others about Jesus Christ on your very own show, pick up the phone and call the station. They'll be happy to tell you how. Call KKVV today at 702-731-5588 or drop them an email at kkvvradio@hotmail.com. Please join me in becoming part of the KKVV family. You'll be glad you did. Welcome back to Las Vegas Tonight. I'm your host, Dale Davidson. Thanks for tuning in. Briell Decker has been with us. What a fascinating woman she is, and what a terrific life story. And we have a very special guest. His name is Esteban Blanchard Moran. Close? And but everybody calls him Stephen. So I'm gonna. And we were talking about miracles during the break and how your life is just full of miracles. And this one is a miracle, you said.
Right.
Tell me about how you guys met and how you ended up being married and all that.
Okay, so when I got adopted into my adopted family, it was about 2 years after I was adopted. So
Right.
about a year after I moved back from Tennessee,
Right.
I was sitting with my family, and my brother piped up and he's like, "I have somebody I want you to meet." And my mom was there and she's like, "No, don't say that." I was like, well, we might as well try, because I didn't really want to date before I got my legal name changed. But after that had happened, I was like more open to it.
Yeah.
And so I said we should meet him, and we did, and it went really well. So we dated for about 6 months, got legally married, and then 6 months later we celebrated with everyone.
Oh,
So,
that's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. So where were you at the time when you met him?
we were in Salt Lake, like Provo area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
he was living up there at the time. So
Oh, that's a nice story. That's a nice
Yeah.
story. And so you happy with this girl?
Yeah, of course.
There's a leading question, but I can tell, that you guys are really, really tied together, and God bless you both. We wish you both the very, very best. Let's talk about miracles and what's happening in your life right now. During the break, you were talking with Terry Arnold, my co-executive producer, and you were talking about maybe being a minister yourself. Tell us about your dreams there.
I do know Eva and Skip, and they teach a course like through the Dream Center.
Oh,
the
okay.
Dream City Church, I think. So
Right.
about how to help people become ministers and things.
Yeah.
So I've thought about it for about 2 years. I haven't actually pulled it off yet.
Yeah.
That is one of my hopes, is that at some point I can go and take that course. I do know people at the Short Creek Dream Center, several of them, who have gone through the course.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, and been successful at doing that. Our biggest thing is I'm praying about like children of our own. So like we haven't had that yet. So a lot of Christians are praying for us too, and we're thanking them. Is what Terry was saying. We should say thank you, God, for the miracle. We've had 3 miscarriages, so
Okay.
we are
we'll pray.
grateful that we're going to have children now. Like, we did figure out what it was. I had diabetes, so like,
Oh, okay.
we've kind of solved that now. So we're hoping, we're praying and thinking.
Oh, we will pray. We will pray that will happen.
Yeah.
And do you think you're going to continue to live in Short Creek?
We do have our own house there.
Yeah.
We dream a lot about like other options too, because I can now. I'm not confined to one area.
Yeah.
Like I was when I was in the FLDS. We had to live where we were told to live.
Yes.
And now I don't have to. So we dream about things all the time, but we don't have any plans to change that.
Does it do your heart good whenever you walk into that 40-bed home that you gifted to the Dream Center?
Yeah.
Tell me what goes through your heart and in your head when you do that every morning.
I have a lot more good memories at the Dream Center than I ever had anything else. So for me, it's peaceful, and it's the energy is so different. Like, people who tour it all the time are like, we're not expecting this. It's just so, God has really touched it, and it's got a good energy there. Yeah, it just takes like going there to sometimes realize that. Mm-hmm. But it's definitely been mostly remodeled. We have like an adopt-a-room program that you can find on the website also, where you can adopt a room, pay for everything to be like remodeled in that room, and go and change the energy. Help us change that energy. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Most of the rooms in the Dream Center itself have been adopted, but the transitional house and other buildings also need things like that. So,
sure.
Yeah.
And let's talk about the future. I'd like to do that in the last segment anyway. Where do you see the ministry going in Short Creek in the years to come? More homes, dormitories, more transitional housing, more teaching. What do you see happening there?
I think the biggest thing they need is a daycare.
Yeah.
I would like to see them have a daycare. I know that there is one now in Centennial, which is a neighboring city. It's not the worst, but it's also, there's a lot of children there. So they're already, after 1 year, upgrading the building and going into a bigger building because like they can't.
There's not enough room.
There's not enough room, for all the need. So I would like to see the Dream Center have their own, because I think it would be really beneficial for the single moms that come into the building to be able to always get daycare, because like they leave the church, they don't realize what they're facing, and then they get into this building and they can take their children and all that, because we have the licensing that children can be in the building, but for them to work, they have to usually get daycare, and the states will help pay for daycare if it's a certified daycare. So if they can't get into a certified daycare in the area, they end up spending all their money on daycare, and it's not worth it to go into a job situation. Right. So, and some of the schools, if the children are over 3 years old, they can get them into daycare even in the schools in that area. Okay. It's just those first 3 years sometimes can be pretty tough for single moms. And
is there enough public school classrooms for all these kids?
There is 3 schools in the area. So there's one in Centennial, or there's 4. There's like 2 in Centennial. There's, let's see, what's it, Cottonwood? Sorry.
Water Canyon?
Water Canyon, yeah, that's what
Water
it is.
Canyon, okay.
Yeah, Water Canyon is the main school that people usually like to go to.
Okay.
Because it's more ex-FLDS people, and they do have a lot of programs to help the children that have been in homeschool their whole life and have to catch up because they didn't actually get taught.
Yeah.
So
that's one of the side effects of all of this. The cultic activity is education wasn't there, and it was never a priority, I'm sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what the Dream Center, where I'm hoping they get their own daycare, and I'm also hoping they do look for like some business, like for-profit opportunities to help more consistently fund the Dream Center.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also jobs and things. So I don't know how that's going to look. I think the daycare would be a for-profit.
Oh, it would be, okay.
Because the state will help, they'll help those single moms. So and it will also help fund everything. So they have more streams of income. So they are looking for things like that.
Now, will the Dream Center take non-ex-FLDS? Will they take single
Yes.
moms that have other problems that have no affiliation with the ex-FLDS movement?
They do prioritize people from FLDS or ex-FLDS, but they do take people from other places. It's just the priority is those people from the area, and also ripple effects. So a lot of ex-FLDS, a lot of people who have been through a fire, or if they have like domestic violence, because they don't understand all the dynamics of, you know, relationships in the first place, because they were always arranged marriages, and then they start to date and they don't know what they're looking for. So like there's a lot of ripple effects from that whole area, like their poverty level for one thing, and they don't understand all the time what that is.
Wow.
They don't understand, like they're very proud people because they've been taught to be proud, but you know, I'm not saying that as a bad thing. I'm just saying they sometimes, to get them to admit that they need help is secret most of the time. They don't want to actually admit they need help. So you just have to offer the resources and love and love and love, and a lot of them do come around and start to secretly acknowledge way before they'll ever, like, other than that, acknowledge that it was a good thing.
Yeah. And is there recovery for addiction as well?
So addiction is, we don't actually detox, because like people that come straight from the cult don't usually have any drug or alcohol.
Right.
But we do, there is a ripple effect, because when they leave, a lot of them feel like that they're going to hell, because that's what they've been taught. So they go into, but when they do detox, we usually source them out, like we'll send them to Phoenix or somewhere that does do detox.
Right.
And then they can, when they're further along in the process, we will take them in. But because we have children in the building, we do have to be a little more cautious.
You have to be careful.
Yeah.
Wow. Briell, you're an amazing woman. You really are. You're so bright, and you've overcome so much. It's been an honor to get to know you.
Yeah,
it really has. Are you going to write a book?
I do have a book in the works. It's all written, and that's one thing the Sholo people, so that's another Dream Center.
Yeah.
Some of them have donated to that cause to help me get further and hopefully finish it soon. So we are in the editing phase, and after that goes the printing phase. So like.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Well, when the book is ready, will you please come back?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll promote the book and all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I asked you during the break, I sprung this on you, and you were very gracious and said you would do it. I'm going to turn the show over to you now. I'm going to ask you to look into your camera and tell people whatever is on your heart. There are people who are watching who don't know Jesus Christ. There are people who are confused about Christ. There are probably people that have been in a cult, maybe this one or another one, and need help. Would you address them and say whatever the Holy Spirit puts on your heart?
That is true. I know people have been hurt, you know, at times. There are some people who have been hurt by a, you know, false belief or a false prophet or something like that. But Jesus himself loves us. And it's honest, the truth, to know that, because like people who, his first commandment is to love him the most and then to love one another. So if he wanted us to do something else, he would have had a different commandment. So that was the first thing that helped me wake up, was like seeing people actually love each other and not have so much judgment. And I'm just saying, if you seek out those people that love each other, you'll start to recognize that stability, those kind of things are what Jesus really is, whether they're in a group setting or in a one-on-one basis. Like if you can recognize love, then you can recognize that Jesus is there. And that's what I've learned through stability and love. That's what I've learned through my life, being on the outside now. If it is judgment or negativity, I usually don't think of it as God, because as much, you know, like it's most of the time it's just stability and love that I usually gravitate to recognize that God is there. He cares about us, and He does want us to know that He loves us too. He doesn't want us to just think that we need to be that way. He actually He is that way, and He wants us to recognize Him by that. Does that make sense?
It absolutely does.
Sorry, kind of dragged on a little bit.
No,
yeah.
that's okay.
Okay.
Thank you. That was very, very well said.
Yeah.
And we really appreciate you doing that.
Yeah.
And we so appreciate having you on the show.
Yeah.
Let's once again let everybody know how to get in touch. Her full name is Briell Decker Blanchard, because of this guy over here.
Yeah.
BriellDecker.com is her website. The ShortCreekDreamCenter.org is the organization's website, and please contribute, please help. You know, she's doing wonderful work down there, along with other people, many other people that are doing this work. And if you're interested in volunteering, coming and helping on a mission trip, or whatever you want to do, contribute to this cause. It's a good one. Briell, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.
God bless you. Stephen, thanks for coming on the show as well. Congratulations on the marriage, and we wish you the very best, and we hope that there'll be another little Blanchard in your life soon.
Yeah.
God bless you. Wow, what a wonderful, wonderful interview it's been. And we thank my co-executive producer, Terry Arnold, for finding these folks and bringing them here. And we want you to keep in touch with us too. As I mentioned at the top of the show, my phone number, 702-480-3989. Give me a call anytime. And as I try to remember to say each and every episode of Las Vegas Tonight, when it comes to our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, please walk with Him. God bless you.
Some mornings I get up, dark clouds are in the sky. All day the sun fails to shine. Then I think of that morning when I wake up over there in the land where no dark clouds rise. There won't be no need of the moon, no need of the sun. There'll never be no night. Heaven's gonna shine, and a mansion will be mine. Jesus will be the light. Some mornings I get up and trouble's at the door. That trouble hides the light of day. Then I think of that morning when I wake up over there in the land where troubles roll away. There won't be no need of the moon, no need of the sun. There'll never be no night. Heaven's gonna shine, and a mansion will be mine. Jesus will be the light. Some morning I'll get up in that land so bright and fair. The streets of gold are gonna shine, but the reason they'll be shining and heaven will be fair is that Jesus will be the light. There won't be no need of the moon, no need of the sun. There'll never be no night. Heaven's gonna shine, and a mansion will be mine. Jesus will be the light. There won't be no need of the moon, no need of the sun. There'll never be no night. Heaven's gonna shine, and a mansion will be mine. Jesus will be the light.
Our world isn't perfect. Just watch the news. Evil is everywhere. Now, at the core of who we are, we all know and feel these things to be wrong. But why? Why do we agree that some actions are wrong? Where did we get our standard, the moral code that tells us good from bad? If we're creating it ourselves, free to choose what works for us, then that would make every action acceptable. Good and bad would be the same, and people who commit heinous crimes wouldn't be guilty. They'd simply be doing what's right for them. And yet we say they're guilty. When someone murders an innocent person, it bothers us, enrages us. We hate injustice. Now, maybe we're in a game of survival of the fittest. Suffering and death simply weed out those who aren't strong enough or lucky enough to have won the genetic lottery. But if that's true, why do stories of death and destruction draw up feelings of deep disgust and hurt inside you? Why does your heart break at the news of tragedy? And why do so many other people feel the same way? Could it be that there's something more? Some greater outside force that has ingrained you with the desire for love and goodness? Suppose there's a reason behind hating the evil in the world. Suppose it leads to something greater. Could it lead to hope?
The Lord has made it possible for our show, Las Vegas Tonight, to thrive. We've produced well over 300 episodes telling the remarkable stories of Christians who have set out to change the world for the better. It's my honor to lead this ministry. As the founder of Dale Davidson Ministries, I'm commanded to be a good steward of all the donations our partners have so generously provided to us. As you can imagine, it takes a great deal of money to keep this program on the air in the United States and around the world. Please prayerfully consider making a one-time donation or becoming a monthly partner of Dale Davidson Ministries. Just go to vegassaints.org and select Make a Donation, or send your check or money order made out to Dale Davidson Ministries, 9030 West Sahara Avenue, number 255, Las Vegas, Nevada 89117. For more information, call 702-480-3989. Thank you, and God bless you.
Come on and shine, shine, shine. Las Vegas, shine your light on me.
You've been watching Las Vegas Tonight with your host, Dale Davidson. We hope you've enjoyed this edition of our show. We so appreciate your loyalty to our program. To keep Las Vegas Tonight on the air, please go to our website, vegassaints.org, and click the Donate button. To send a check or money order, please make it out to Dale Davidson Ministries and mail it to 9030 West Sahara Avenue, Suite 255, Las Vegas, Nevada 89117. To suggest a guest to appear on the show or any other suggestions or questions, write to Dale at dalewdavidson@yahoo.com or call him at 702-480-3989.
Shine, Las